Hello and welcome to Big Picture. I am Vishal Dahiya and today's topic is the fallout of the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. In its first punitive response in 3 weeks since the disappearance and killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, the United States administration has revoked the visas of 21 Saudi nationals. Khashoggi had walked in the Saudi Arabian consulate in Istanbul on 2nd of October and had never come back. After a fortnight of denial, Saudi authorities finally confirmed that Khashoggi had died inside the consulate. Various details of the entire incident published in the Turkish media and the flip-flop by the Saudi authorities led to an outrage from several countries, leaders and activists. Turkish President has accused Saudi government of planning Khashoggi's murder and called for an independent investigation. However, contrary to expectations, he did not reveal the existence of audio and video evidence understood to be in Turkey's possession. Hours later, Prince Mohammed bin Salman displayed his political muscle at the investor summit in Riyadh, flaunting his refusal to pull back in the face of the scandal. Though dozens of top business leaders from around the world had pulled out of the summit due to the mounting questions over Saudi government's role in the Khashoggi killing. Meanwhile, in Washington, President Trump termed Saudi Arabia's response in this matter as the worst cover-up ever. This is the strongest criticism yet by Trump of his Saudi ally and marks a significant shift from his initial response on the issue. So what is at stake here for all the key players and what will be the fallout of the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi? For more on this, we are joined by a distinguished panel of guests. Let me start by introducing them to you, beginning with Awad, our West Asia expert. And we also have with us Kamar Aga, another expert on international affairs. And we also have with us Ambassador KB Fabian, former diplomat who has closely watched developments in the Middle East as well. Let's begin with you, Mr. Awad, to try and understand. All of us know the story, how it has unfolded so far, and there are several unanswered questions as well. How do you look at the situation unfolding from here onwards and the summary till now?
Well, I think, first of all, it's a heinous crime committed against a journalist, whether it is against the freedom of speech, whether it's against a human being. The fact of the matter that the crime has been committed and the Saudis have admitted after 2 weeks, as you said. The second part is we have to ask is what happened to the body? If you have killed him, if he died accidentally, then what happened to the body? That all depends in the body. If they found the body intact, nothing has happened to it, that means the story of the Saudi Arabia story is really some of it to be believed, that the crown prince has nothing to do with it. The third more important factor is that the Turkish president have come up also and have bailed out the king of Saudi Arabia in this issue, which he said that the king has nothing to do with it, and he was asking for a forming of a committee to try the 18 person involved in this one. So I think the outcome, as long as the more you prolong the case, you will be more of a deal, kind of a deal between those countries involved, where there will be more of cover-up rather than we have justice for Jamal. So the issue, I think, as long as the Saudi keep on the denial process of where is he, who has taken the body, where is the body now, we will be in a position to speculate more than having more of a confirmative about what was the reason for killing him, how did they siphon the body out, whether part of the body reached to Riyadh or whether part of the body really scattered around Istanbul. So we have to see and unfold this story. What I believe is that the Americans have taken the full advantage of this. The Saudis also knows that. Also the Turks have taken the full advantage of the outcome of this mess the Saudi have created to themselves. But what would be next? The trade. We are facing a trade of religion, a trade of personality, a trade of morale. Everybody become a trader, but the fact of the matter, the man is gone.
Okay. So there are still several unanswered questions there. And let's bring in Mr. Kamar Aga. Mr. Aga, there are three key players as of now, and we can see several postures being made by these, the United States, Turkey and Saudi Arabia as well. And the way Mr. Awad has summed up the entire situation, how do you see all three of them moving from here onwards? Because they have their own respective interests to take care of in this situation.
Of course, the problem is with both, the public opinion has turned against him in all the three countries, be it in Saudi Arabia or even in Turkey and America. So a lot of pressure on these governments. Khashoggi was very popular in Saudi Arabia as well. He was a very well-known journalist, and he was writing, and ever since he became a dissident, he started criticizing the government. When he left out, he became more popular in Saudi Arabia, especially among the unemployed youth and then the middle class, let's put it that way, in Saudi Arabia. English speaking, then has a lot of influence and money as well. As even he was appealing to those people. Second thing, everybody is now, as he said, is exploiting the situation in their favor. The American wants arms deal to continue. He has signed $450 billion worth of trade deals with Americans. So Trump administration want these deals to be executed. 110 billion out of this, is for arms deal. So far, he has bought only 5 billion worth of arms from United States. So the pressure is on him. Every time Trump comes up on television, he would say, "No, I will not cancel the deal," because 10,000 jobs or 15,000 jobs created by these arms deals and other deals. So they are in more concern. So American concern is about the deal, economy, American economy. As far as Erdogan is concerned, they have problems, very old problem. House of Saud and the Egyptian and the Turkish problem goes back to First World War, because before that, at that time, Turkey used to be the leader of Muslim world, and after the disintegration of Ottoman Empire, leadership, shifted to Saudi Arabia. I mean, he claimed himself as a leader, and many recognize. Saudi supports the Wahhabi Salafi movement, whereas Erdogan is supporting basically Muslim Brotherhood, Ikhwan Muslimin. Then on other issues, like on Qatar, they have problems. Both have different side of the issues. On many other issues, the differences are very wide. They have trade ties between the two. Let's see what happens next. And he wants that trade ties to continue. With Saudi Arabia as well.
Okay.
Then there are other local issues which are also coming up in Saudi Arabia as well. Saudi Arabia, he is engaged in number of projects. Right from Yemen, which is the war has failed. Last year alone, $50 billion he spent on war, and this year maybe more. Is much more.
And the Crown Prince is trying to do an overhaul in the kingdom.
Overhauling. Then, the Qatar crisis is continuing. He has not been able to solve in his own favor. Problem with Iran, is continuing, because so he has opened too many fronts. Okay. Inside the country, unemployment is growing. Then oil prices, he was expecting to go up. I mean, if it is not 100 plus, they're not going to make it, deficit financing would be there.
Okay.
So lots of problem, internal problem is there. Then external problems are also,
So it's a mix of issues piling up.
The Crown Prince, he's a defective. It's almost he's running the show in Saudi Arabia, and he messed up all the policies.
Okay, let's bring in Ambassador Fabian here, and let's try and analyze all these points which Kamaraga has pointed out, specifically the interest of all these three stakeholders. Let's begin with Turkey, Ambassador Fabian. Turkish president seems to have come across as a good cop in this entire situation. How would you see at this particular scenario right now, where the Turkish president seems to be knowing all and revealing some and saying that proper action needs to be taken?
Well, what you have to understand is that President Erdogan has played his cards with considerable skill, because as we have seen initially, Riyadh denied everything. Even the body double was caught by the CCTV as leaving the consulate. Now the Turkish Erdogan sort of started giving details. Little by little. And around 7th of October, it was clear that he was killed. I mean, we shouldn't say he died in the consulate. He was killed. It was murder in the consulate. And then you could see that later when the CNN carried that story, well, the next day, 16th, President Trump said, it's a rogue operation. Now, mark it. 16th, President Trump says it was a rogue operation, and 19th, Saudi Arabia says the same thing. My reckoning is that President Trump knew all along what had happened. Don't forget that the people who carried out this had gone back to, most of them had gone back to Saudi Arabia the same day. That the Consul General, according to Turkish recordings, had screamed, please don't do it in my presence. So, Trump knew all along, and it is quite possible, I'm only guessing, it's quite possible it was President Trump who gave the formula of the rogue operation. Now comes, what does Turkey want? As far as I can see, in August, Turkey had received a promise of $15 billion of investment from Qatar. And as already mentioned, in the rift between Saudi Arabia and Qatar, Turkey rushed to Qatar's help. They sent in troops and have taken a very clear position. And therefore, I take it that Erdogan will incrementally put more and more pressure on Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
But as said, as pointed out already, he was careful in acknowledging his faith in the king to do what is right. And don't forget, he mentioned only the king. He purposely
didn't mention the crown prince, who seems to be the de facto
so the implication
number one.
is that, and another thing we have to understand is that I'll put it this way: the crown prince is facing a challenge, to put it mildly, and we do not know what might happen.
Okay. Okay, let's bring in Mr. Awad here. Mr. Awad, on the Turkish president's issue only, the way Ambassador Fabian has put it, he seems to be making some smart moves here, both diplomatically as well as, politically also, for addressing the concerns of his own domestic audience as well as the international audience as well. But from here onwards, what might be, the structure or the steps which will be taken by the Turkish president or the Turkish authorities, because it is them who seems to be holding all the keys to all the evidences which have been talked about so far in the Turkish media as well as the international media as well?
Well, I fully agree with Ambassador Fabian regarding the Turkish role in this issue. He played his card very delicately and perfectly in spreading the news and make it a global issue. Giving the news, sneaking the news to the New Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, and then it became a global issue. And he said to the Saudi and to the rest of the world, it's out of my hand. Now find out the solution and tell the truth. That he played. But for us as an investigative journalist and watching him last night and seeing what he was doing, and he did not tell us the truth, that we knew that he knew so much of it, and every detail is with his, lying with him, and yet that means he has reached to a kind of a deal with the Saudi government, with the United States, because the United States also immediately sent the director of the CIA to the night before he delivered his speech to tell him that the deal has been struck. So what kind of arrangement has been reached? We have to look at it. Secondly, there is a rift between Saudi and the Qataris, yes, but he wanted to take that also, the blackmailing of the Saudi, to gain some mileage out of the Saudi government policy. But here is a fight between the Wahhabism, between the Muslim Brotherhood, between the Salafists, between the Wahhabism. So who will be the dominant force in the Arab or Muslim world? American tried to pop up the Mohammed bin Salman as the crown prince and the leading US Saudi-led coalitions that they have started the war in Yemen, and they were starting against Iran along with the Israelis and the rest of the coalition that Saudi have paid to those respected government to bring them on board. And now the Turk also felt that they are the one, or the de facto Khalifa, I call him Erdogan, felt that he should be the Islamic Ummah leader. So now this problem have projected him that he is the alternative to Mohammed bin Salman. So he wanted to take the full advantage of the crisis to his own benefit, whether it's economically, whether it's politically, whether it is internationally, because his image internationally has been isolated, he's been tarnished, his image. Economically, he can be bailed out by the Qataris or the Saudi rift, so he can take the full advantage to it. So he does not want a political bribe, but rather he wanted the whole package of a bribe till he come up with the truth, or till he come up with part of the truth where he is hiding. And that's my take on this.
Okay, so it is finally, blown up into one-upmanship between the Saudi Crown Prince and the Turkish President. Let's bring in Kamaraga again on this. And Kama, this time around, let's look at the European players as well. Several key European countries, some of them, they are US allies, the NATO allies, the German Chancellor has spoken, several other statements have also come in. How about these countries? What stake do they have in this entire situation, and how is it that they are now going to or expected to go ahead and react now that the situation is turning entirely on its head?
There are a number of things. First of all, as far as Europe is concerned, it's a very major issue, and in Europe, public opinion matters. Germany has suspended the defense deal. Number of companies, multinational companies, European multinational companies, who are supposed to, was planning to invest in Saudi Arabia, in Davos, in the desert. This conference refused to go there. They refused to participate in that conference. Plus, they have withdrawn at the moment. Now everybody is waiting. What will be the next? Because it's a shut case now. Nobody will get to know who was behind the murder. Everybody has pinpointed Crown Prince, but it is very difficult to prove because he has denied. King has also said that he is not involved in it. He doesn't know about this. Saudi Arabia has already punished 18-20 people, sent them to the jail, and President Trump has accepted it. If he would have not accepted this, he has already, even before that, he said it's a rogue operation. Rogue element were responsible for these things. He has blamed this.
But the latest statement from President Trump is that it's the worst ever cover-up
in the history. It's the worst ever
cover-up,
but he's not blaming the Crown Prince and the King, other people, Once these people are punished, he'll accept that. Because for him, it is, MBS is very important. The Crown Prince is very important. For his son-in-law also, he has a very close ties. Then second thing, MBS, as he popularly known in Saudi Arabia, MBS, the Crown Prince is also dealing with Israel, which is a very important partner, The Israeli lobby is also pressurizing the president that don't remove this man or don't put too much pressure on this guy, And his son-in-law is also there. And he is a very important player in the so-called peace process, peace process. So there are a lot of stake involved. So they don't want to disturb the ruling, this family, at least the Americans and the other allies, So it looks at the moment, And they want him to continue. And Trump is also repeatedly mentioning, that we have a deal with them. We had a lot of defense deal, job creation. He's a very strong man. He's a reformer, all sorts of things. So if you look at Trump's statement, you would find at times there are duality, These statements which has come yesterday, it looks as if he is trying to bargain with the king, or the Crown Prince, something out of it, What is that? We don't know yet.
Okay. Let's bring in Mr. Fabian here on the European players issue and the kind of reaction which has come in from several European countries, specifically Germany as well. How do you see things playing out as far as their stakes are concerned and reaction from them is concerned as well? To what extent do you expect the European nations to go forward in this?
Okay, before that I want to make a point about the United States. This is an unfolding drama. All that I would say is that President Trump is doing his utmost, mark my words, to make sure that no harm comes to the Crown Prince. But his hands may be forced. The Congress is angry, and don't forget that CIA director has come back after 7 hours of interview with the Turkish counterparts. So we don't know. And another thing is that even in Saudi Arabia, you know what this Crown Prince has been doing. He had imprisoned so many other princes. And so things are not that simple. And another, this is very important. 2nd of October, when this murder took place, Trump was speaking at a rally at Mississippi, Make America Great Again. And you know what he said? Oh, these other countries are not, are exploiting the United States. Saudi Arabia, great country, I love them. I told the king, if I withdraw my support, you'll be out in 2 weeks. In other words, the fact of the matter is, US-Saudi relations are not 100% dependent on the continuance in power of the Crown Prince. Saudi Arabia needs the United States. With or without the Crown Prince, that dependency will be there. Only thing is that in the case of Trump, personal engagement, you know, they had invested in his real estate. That is there. And also his style of doing. He prefers, you know, that's right. But I think this is very important.
Okay.
Now, coming to Europeans.
European part.
Now, Germany has said that it might, again, I am choosing my words very carefully, suspend arms so long as the situation is not clear. That's a very ambivalent statement. France hasn't said that. In fact, Macron is going there by the end of the year and hopes to sign big deals. Spain, if you remember, when the new leftist government came in some months ago, initially they said that they would sort of, you know, terminate the supply. But in no time, they reversed it. So my view is that, and don't forget, between 2001 and 2015, Europeans have sold $57 billion worth of arms to Saudi Arabia. So, they will make these noises, but ultimately they would like to continue supplying weapons.
Okay.
Canada has made a statement, you know, it's about $14 billion. I mean, Trudeau has said it, but there is a little more to it because the Canadian Foreign Minister tweeted something about human rights, which Crown Prince didn't like. He, you know, angrily withdrew his ambassador. But basically, the West will continue to supply. The merchants of death are very powerful.
Okay, let's bring in Awad again on this aspect, the European players and their response as well. You explained very clearly the equations which are there between several nations within the Middle East as well, and obviously both our other panelists have also explained how the Saudi-US relations are placed. And as Mr. Fabian pointed out about the the business interest the European nations have as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned. Is that going to be the largest factor, or maybe we might see in the days to come some European countries making some more strong remarks?
Look, we have to understand one thing. Who called the shot in Saudi Arabia is the United States. Not the Saudis, by the way. 1957 agreement between Eisenhower and the Al Saud king has made already in the United States that they have to protect the monarch. So only changing of the faces. So Al Saud, the tribe of Al Saud, they are the only people who can rule Saudi Arabia. It is with the approval of the United States. So changing of faces is the United States job. It doesn't make a difference. So the United States will continue business. But the problem with this crisis is that Trump anti-media campaign against Trump is so strong in the United States. So anything Trump says, he's lying. So the American media took the case here. European, similar fashion, they followed the American and they followed the Arab media on these issues, because here you have seen it's become a global issue. It's an international issue. It's a crime. It's a heinous crime. It's a brutality killing of a person. And then you wanted the people to believe the text of Saudi Arabia regarding this story, which is keep on lying in a state of denial. So American, don't forget, Justa is also on the process on the United States, where they wanted to accuse the Saudi Arabia involvement of 11th of September, which also bringing the Saudi government indicted in the United States, where the American trying to extract $1 trillion from the Saudis on this behalf, and they want to close the job. So the European, they know that there is an investment. It's a rich country. They have to do. They will continue the business. But I think the days of MBS has to be counted, and he should be phased out. The American will continue to keep him on the face because the American law is coming against the Saudi government very strongly. And I think this media campaign for one person has taken the whole world attention. Not the killing of 1 million in Yemen, not the killing of 1 million in Syria, nor in Libya. It's a clear indication that double standard of dealing with the human rights issue. For me, I want justice for Jamal. Whoever has done the killing should be taken into custody and should be given a trial, fair trial, and that the people of his family. Look at the king meeting with the son of Jamal Khashoggi yesterday, and he was shaking hands with him. You see in his eyes that as if you killed the person and you're walking in his funeral. The man is detained and he cannot leave the Saudi Arabia. Where is the human rights issue you're talking about here? So that cosmetic operation you are trying to give by hiring an American company to prove a PR exercise for Saudi Arabia does not work anymore. So you need to do a surgical, you need to change the system in Saudi Arabia and let the people of Saudi Arabia at least enjoy the wealth of their country, not the American banks and the European banks.
Okay, so clearly, as our panelists are pointing out, that there are several unanswered questions as far as the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi is concerned, and the reactions coming in from across the world are an indication that there are going to be some more twists and turns in this entire situation. We'll keep a close watch on that. We'll come back again tomorrow with a different topic and a different set of guests. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.